And go. Oh, wait, nope, sorry. All right. And go.
Hello, I'm Sam Ohaj,
And I'm Max.
and this is season 7 of GBTV's The Game Clock, coming right from home. Obviously, given the circumstances of the COVID-19 pandemic, we can't be in the studio, and it's been a while since we made an episode, but they're safe and their families are doing well, and we're going to get through this together. And thanks to our first responders. Without you guys, there'd be no progress made, and you guys are doing the best job possible. So I applaud you, and same with Max, and same with the game clock.
Yeah, make sure everyone stays safe
There's
out there.
We're obviously there's no varsity sports. Varsity sports were canceled. A lot of seniors didn't get to play their spring sports this year, including myself. I didn't get to play golf this year, but it's not the end of the world because we still got to see some great things happen this year with basketball and football. So I'm very privileged to have watched those sports before they obviously were taken away from the COVID-19 pandemic. But anyway, let's get into professional sports. So professional sports, Max will be talking about relatively soon. Besides that, I mean, the MLB is set to return in July, which is really great. I'm excited to see that. The NFL draft was a couple of weeks ago, and that was a lot of fun. Same with the WNBA draft as well. So there's been some sports, but besides that, there hasn't been anything. A lot of teams are up in the air. Some teams facilitate, including because of the stay-at-home orders. So we're going to see how that works. They're still pushing, but it may be delayed. And the NFL is doing whatever it takes to step up and make sure that they could do this, have their season. But MLB season in particular will be moving to an 82 game schedule just about instead of a 162 game season that they normally play. And it's set to begin in July. So I am very excited to see that. There's no fans as of now, but that could change given what happens.
Yeah,
Also,
you go.
last night ESPN ran their 10-part documentary on the last dance, like doing the details of Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls. I have to say that is one of the best documentaries I've ever watched. I watched it with my mother, and it just goes to show you how great Michael Jordan is as a basketball player on and off the court, and how dynamic and how legendary the Chicago Bulls were in the 90s. There's no one like Michael Jordan, and I think it just makes the argument that he is the GOAT and that LeBron could never come near Michael Jordan. Don't get me wrong, LeBron is a great player. I'm not taking that away from him, but when you watch Michael Jordan and you watch his highlights, there's no one like Michael Jordan. Like you want to be like Mike. Now Max is going to talk about the UFC because that
Oh yeah,
happened.
yeah. It's like the UFC was this weekend. It was a little different because usually Dana White has it on ESPN Plus. This time it was streaming live from pay per view, and like the first half of the night was on ESPN. Like last, I forgot what day it was, and then we had a couple good fights at the start on ESPN, the regular channel. I think the best fight on there was Cowboy versus Anthony Pettis. Anthony Pettis just lost to Nate Diaz, and Cowboy just lost to Connor. So it was a pretty good fight, two high level guys. And it was very scrappy and it was very controversial. And you know, Pettis was just letting Cowboy take him down to get missions, but in the end, it was very controversial. It was very back and forth. Could have went either way. And and then what's it called? Anthony Pettis won. Very controversial. I thought Cowboys should have won, but apparently Anthony Pettis should have won. And later that night, we have the legendary Henry Cejudo. He retired. He's an Olympic champion in wrestling and a double champion in the UFC. And he beat former champ and Dominic Cruz, and he's probably can go down as the greatest combat sport athlete of all time. Knocked him out in very controversial fashion. Dominic was not happy. He got up, screamed at the ref. Very controversial, but he shouldn't have got knocked down. I agree with the call, but it was very controversial, and And then later that night, we had the awesome, um, what was that? Justin Gaethje versus Tony Ferguson. Um, it was very like you just like even though like so Gaethje was a huge underdog, and then it was a big bloodbath. Like it was just very like they just kept going back and forth, exchanging a lot, and it just shows how tough Tony Ferguson is. That he can take that much hard punches that will knock that many people out. And at the end, the underdog won, and he stopped him in the fifth round. But he was pretty much dominated. I don't know if he won every other round, but it was pretty close. And the underdog won. The underdog won in the end, and Justin Gaethje won, and he would be fighting the very unstoppable Khabib Nurmagomedov next. And then they had a fight card Wednesday and Saturday in Jacksonville, Florida, and because Jacksonville is the only state that lets them run sports, they weren't in their home in Las Vegas. So, very smooth event. One person tested positive for COVID, and overall, it was a smooth event, and hopefully, no one got hurt or sick from it.
Khabib is a scary dude, so the underdog that you were talking about, I'd be pretty scared if I had to go against Khabib. Also, too,
Yeah.
another sport that's coming back that some people may like is NASCAR, and they're going to be doing a similar style, same to the UFC. They're going to be testing all of their drivers and all of their crew before they enter, and after they test them, if they test positive for COVID, then they're going to be sent off, but they're still going to continue with NASCAR. Everyone has to wear a mask on the racetrack. There's no in between. You just go on, wear your mask, and then you can participate in your sport. So I know that a lot of people are happy that NASCAR is coming back. I'm not a NASCAR fan, but it's nice to see these sports starting to come back. Also, next month, golf is returning, so that's another great thing to watch. I mean, it's boring to watch golf, in my opinion. It's more fun to play, but that's just all these non-contact sports are starting to come back, and it's going to really drive up a lot of people's watch time because we're until the foreseeable future. But at least there's sports now, so it's happening. It's coming back, and also too, some the NBA this month, their vote next week. And rather than have all the teams split up and travel everywhere, everyone's just going to go to Las Vegas and they're going to keep all the teams in a certain hotel. And if one person tests positive for COVID, they're going to lock down the team for 2 days and then they're going to go from there. But they really want to play in one spot so that way they can control all the players and they can prevent people from getting COVID-19 and they can conclude the 2019-2020 NBA season.
I wonder if they're just gonna shorten the season down and just have it. Well, they're definitely gonna shorten it down, or just have the playoffs, like because you can't have that full schedule. It's nearly impossible. So I wouldn't be surprised if they shorten their season or just have the playoffs the way it is. And yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how the format goes with the season. It'll be completely different from the regular season, obviously with no crowds and stuff. And like NASCAR, it's probably like such a social distance sport because like you're in a car and a person's in the other car, and then baseball you're far apart. So, and that's good to see basketball come back because the NBA loses a lot of money and that can hurt the economy of the sport, and then you don't want to see players getting pay cuts and stuff.
Yes, so yeah, I that's exactly what I think is going to happen too with the NBA. I think that they're just going to cut right to the playoffs because there is supposed to be another month of the NBA season when it got canceled on March 13th, but or not canceled, it got suspended, I should say. But I think that there's no way to make up all those games in the set amount of time, even if there was 20 or 30 games left. I think they should just take best team nine seed of both respective conferences and they should have them play because there could be the argument that, well, if I had another month to play, I could have made it as the eighth seed over that person. So maybe a one game elimination game. Obviously, I'm not the NBA GM, so I can't come up with these ideas and put them forth, but it's nice to see these sports return.
Well, like the format of the NBA is obviously gonna be different, but if someone loses, they're obviously gonna come up with an excuse why they lost. The format was different, blah blah blah. That's just the easy trap to fall in. But if you're really the best team, you should even know what circumstances you go on, even know what the odds is. You should adjust on the fly, And then if you're really the best team, you should be able to win the championship no matter what the circumstances are. Like if you're really the best team, you should win. And I think if you have an equally good playoffs, just a fair playoffs where everyone gets an opportunity, or just maybe the top 8 season have like a quarterfinal show, like who's the best team. Like I think everyone should
Yes,
just have an equal shot and
and I
stuff.
agree with
So
you. And I hopefully they could vote and they could come to an agreement that the NBA season will return.
yeah.
There's a lot of things up in the air right now with this whole pandemic and situation, but I think as we continue to flatten the curve and work on becoming social distance and wearing masks and taking all the proper hygiene and everything along those lines, I think that we could start to return to a normal life. Obviously, after this is a life-changing event for everyone, no matter who you are, and it just we'll see what happens.
Yeah, hopefully everyone stays safe and follows what their local government health officials are saying to stay safe.
Yes. Anyway, I'm Sam Mohaj,
I'm Max Capua.
and this is the Game Clock.